I'm joined right now by Shobhaa, novelist, columnist. We'll also be joined in a short while from now by Dr. Kiran Bedi. But Ms. Day, thank you for taking the time out and joining us. So much, Ms. Day, has been said and spoken about the in-laws, the monstrosity, the heinous crime. Rarely does one speak and touch upon the role of parents. One can, sympathize and empathize that there is a societal role that is played, but if we could have come up with laws as hard as the dowry law at a time when there was a similar society, should somewhere down the line parents also become liable of negligence?
Negligence is a very strong word for parents who very often are completely helpless in cases like this. They ought not to be, because their first priority should be their daughter's life and to save her from further atrocities, further indignity, further humiliation, particularly when they are aware of the fact, like you said, society, the kind of pressure that society extracts and imposes on parents. And I'm not even talking about people who are, I'm not even talking class here. I have very similar situations that I can share with people from a very different background to the one that Nikki belongs to, and to the monster husband, the drunkard who routinely beat her up. I'm talking about people who are supposedly educated, people, if you, for want of a better term, people like us. I don't think those women are any better off.
True.
The thing is that what started off many, many centuries ago as Tridhan, to protect a woman's interests when she got married, it was more like an insurance, like a down payment, to make sure that the girl, the bride, had something to call her own. It gave her some sense of agency over herself in a marriage. Well, after the British era, and when women were denied ownership of land, everything but everything changed. She became an object that could be traded and bought, like in Nikki's case. The demands never ever end. Whether it's a Scorpio today, a motorcycle tomorrow, 80 lakhs or 50 lakhs, the price tags differ. But has anything really changed? No, it's gotten much worse. A recent survey of 19 cities established that cities like Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Bangalore, the incidence of dowry deaths have only gone up. We're talking about something like recorded 19 dowry deaths a day in India. It is a shocking, shocking statistic. And mind you, this is a completely underplayed number. We don't even know. In reality, could be double that, or maybe many times more than that number. And women are so helpless, mainly because, yes, as you rightly pointed out, their families do not offer them a haven, a safe port to come to when things get awful. Because, as her uncle said, it's what will Samaj say, it's part of our tradition. What tradition are we talking about? It's okay by tradition to beat a woman up, to burn her. But my really, the one thing that has puzzled me a lot about this particular case is how come her sister, who was also her business partner in the beauty business that they were, parlor that they were both running, how did she not think of saving her sister rather than filming her? I know this wasn't the first incident, but this was an incident that cost her sister her life. She watched as her husband literally poured an inflammable fluid on her, set her on fire, and the girl rolled down the staircase, and the sister is filming it all. Okay, you have that as evidence. But wouldn't the normal, natural instinct be to rush and save someone whose life is obviously in such grave danger? Is one thing I find extremely puzzling.
Right. But,
The
at
second
least,
thing,
yes, make your point.
yeah, so it also goes to show that despite whatever Nikki was trying, all she was doing was trying to assert her own independence through her own hard work. But today, as Vipin himself has confessed, her very idea and notion of striking out on her own by being independent, and even more so, it could be that he was further threatened by her social media presence. That's become this era's biggest menace. men who are threatened by their wives, who have a certain presence on social media. A lot of women are paying for this very thing with their lives. It is not just shocking. And today, I mean, irony of ironies, it happens to be something called Women's Equality Day. What can be a bigger tragedy than the fact that we are discussing this on something that's called Women's Equality Day? I mean, I am shocked beyond belief, but also extremely disturbed that we are in a way complicit and a bit too passive, because what we are saying, what we're talking about right now, could be happening in our neighborhood. It could be happening
Right.
right next to us.
You know, Ms. Day,
That across
I want you to take a moment and maybe possibly reflect on, you do say that parents are sometimes helpless, but I'm glad that you blurred the class divide, because this is not a class issue. It transcends class. So therefore, when we speak of the role of parents, very often the words that we hear is compromise, compromise kar lo, the pressure to adjust in a new family, and constantly where the girl says that I can't deal with it anymore, to come back and then pressurize to maybe adjust. Let's see how it goes this time. All of that language needs to change.
Not just the language, it's the basic vichar. It's what you feel for your own flesh and blood at the end of the day. This girl was in a bad marriage for 5 years. 5 years during which her parents did nothing but tell her to adjust, which is a nasty word to say to any girl under these sort of circumstances. But also, what I have noticed in dowry cases across India is not just are the parents not willing to take their girls back to the house. They also fear a stigma and social kind of ostracism from their own neighbors and from other family members, because very often it's the girl is to blame. It can't be that she's completely blame free, because here is a girl, she is boldly putting herself out there on social media. Here is a girl who's running a beauty parlor, which she was running before she married. And here is a girl who needs to be taught a lesson. And maybe she will learn to adjust better and to compromise with them.
But Ms. Day, I just want to bring in Dr. Kiran Bedi, but I'm going to ask you one question as well.
Yes.
Because here is also a girl who was, in all probability, because the uncle confirmed to me that she was just about 26 when she was killed. This young child was married in 2016, by all indications, underage.
That is a very big legal issue, which I'm sure Ms. Bedi is in a better position to talk about. But it's not something unique. It's not something freaky. It's not something that we haven't heard of before. Girls are traded like commodities. They're sold in the marriage market, and not just at people like Nikki. I'm talking really candidly and honestly. I know people, my own friends, who do not think anything of handing over agency, every bit of it, their daughters' lives, their own lives, sometimes wives and girlfriends of mine, educated, empowered in every which way, are stripped of their freedom. They have no access to their own jewelry. They have no access to their own money. They're handed out pocket money and treated not very much better than what Nikki has endured, had to endure at the hands of what can only be called sadistic, maniacal, cruel criminals.
Ms. Day, thank you for taking the time out and joining us for this brief chat.